Let's do it, Agumon.
Agumon, what Digimon?
Wargreymon!
It's morphin' time. Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to another Digimon review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Figurerise Standard Wargreymon model kit. Now, this was released in November 2021 in Japan and Spring 2022 in North America. It's starting to get around distribution and such, but this kit was the start of the new Figurerise Standard model kit series. We previously had Figurerise Standard Amplified, which were more robotic designs of Digimon, whereas Figurerise Standard is going to be more anime designs, and I'm all here for it. So let's see if Wargreymon is a good start to the line, or if there's anything we should be concerned about. Let's begin. Alright, so here's the box art for Figurerise Standard Wargreymon. So you can see it looks very, very nice. You know, being a Bandai model kit, it has unique packaging art, and it looks gorgeous. Just the fire effect is really nice. Nice, very anime-styled Wargreymon. And, you know, it makes a nice presentation. Of course, we've got the Digimon Adventure logo up in the corner, and is the original Digimon Adventure, which is clearly the version this is supposed to be, even though the Adventure 2020 version doesn't look that much different. On the side, you get some nice shots of Wargreymon, and then more art on the side here, and then on the back, again, another thing, plus a little bio. This Digimon was featured in the Digimon Adventure anime series. It is a Mega Digimon that digivolved due to the courage of Taichi Yagami and his partner Agumon, who faced a powerful foe even in desperate situation without giving up. It has a sophisticated humanoid form, and its speed and powers have been dramatically enhanced. It fought alongside Metal Garurumon and other Mega Evolution Digimon to eliminate the darkness that invaded their world. So, you know, kind of neat that they use, you know, the Japanese terms in terms of, like, Taichi, but then they use the English terms such as, like, Mega and Digivolved. Also, this was distributed by Bluefin Brands in North America, at least, and retailed for, I believe, $28.99 US, which isn't too bad for a model kit nowadays. But yeah, let's take a look at the kit itself and see if it was worth it. So taking a look at Wargreymon himself, he looks great. The overall body proportion is definitely anime-styled, more so than the video game style than we've seen in the past, which I appreciate because I've always kind of wanted more anime-styled Digimon figures, since I, well, prefer the anime to the video games in a lot of ways. So the kit overall actually has a lot of plastic color separation. The only real stickers that we have would be his eyes up here, the wraps around the horns where the black part is, the shoulder bits that are red, which you can see there, and then the decals on the back to do the Crest of Courage, you know, which lines up pretty well when it's all said and done. They're all molded in on the back, it's just you have to put the stickers in to fill the detail. Which, you know, I don't mind. I don't mind that at all. There's very little sticker usage on this guy. So all the silvers and reds versus the yellows and oranges are all plastic. Even like the skirt piece here, this red piece was added on. So I appreciate that a lot because it gives it a cleaner look without so many stickers. The only other stickers would be the thumbs on the hands there. So yeah, I mean, he looks really good. There's a very nice like proportion to him. He looks powerful and strong, and he fits that anime aesthetic, which is kind of what they're going for with the Figurerise Standard line versus, say, the Figurerise Amplified line, which was more mechanical. So I really do like this. I like this look overall. The other thing cool about him is he's actually pretty articulated, but there is one limitation, which we'll get into. First up, let's look at his head. So neck-wise, he's got, you know, a polycap ball joint at the bottom, so it does tip up and down and move all around, but if you move it too much, it's going to disconnect. But you can see there that, you know, it is a ball joint socket in there. It's pretty shallow, I think, to make sure that, you know, you don't break something. Instead, it would just pop off. But you can get his head tilted pretty down or pretty far up. Now, there isn't any neck joint tiltage at the top of the neck, and that's because of the way it's assembled. But again, that hair in the back is a separate piece, so I will take that. Now, shoulders-wise, pretty good as well. He's got a polycap on the inside shoulder, so he's got that full ball joint range. In fact, if we do this, you can see the actual joint. So it's a pretty deep ball joint into that polycap socket, and that gives him a pretty good range of movement. Now, also, his shoulder pads here can shoulder pad up, whatever the heck shoulder pad up means. He's got a bicep swivel, So he's got biceps going on here, and then he's got an elbow bend. The thing you're probably wondering about, does he have a wrist swivel? And the answer is no. So by the nature of the way the kit is built from the beginning, his elbows kind of work this way, which is a shame because, you know, you pretty much restrict his articulation. There isn't a swivel in here. However, there is a fix for this that we will talk about in a few minutes. But the base kit, when you build it, his arms are going to be out like this, or they're going to be up like this. It's got that kind of gorilla arm syndrome that a lot of Transformers have, which is unfortunate. But let's get into the rest of it. So he's got ball jointed waist, which moves all around like this. He's got hips that move out, the hips that pull down. So they actually do have a pull down, which means they can kick higher, forward and back. The skirt pieces move here. This one sort of moves just a little bit. Then he's got a double jointed knee, which doesn't go too far because of just the chunk of his leg muscle. He's just going to have a little bit of movement, but it's enough, I think, for the most part. And then you got the feet here, which the feet can left, right, forward, back, all that usual stuff we'd expect. And then adding to that, the Brave shields on the back are double ball jointed at the base of the connection and also at the base of the back. So you can actually pop these off. You can see that there is a ball joint connection there, and then one in the shield, or the Brave shield. So you got options. You can have it fully closed. You can pull it out. You know, you got plenty of choices there for posing options. So it does give it a good range of movement as best as it can, because these plates will always crash into each other. But yeah, I mean, other than the lack of like a wrist swivel, his articulation's pretty solid. But I think we can make it better. So let's take a look at those wrists and see what's going on. So looking closer at the forearm here, this is the piece you want to take off. This is during assembly too, if you want to do this. If you kind of lift that up, it's just only attached a couple ways. We can look at the arm here. So essentially, what we're looking at is that there could be a swivel, but because of the way the kit is designed, these two parts sandwich together. So if you want to give him a wrist swivel, the best way to do it would be to cut along this seam line, essentially just cutting this piece separate. And then once it's inside, it's going to be sandwiched between these parts here. Like you can see the groove. The groove goes around the actual area of the arm. So it's going to not like make it like fall apart, because it's still going to be grooved in. And then that'll give him a sort of bicep swivel that will, or a forearm swivel that will allow him to kind of pose better. So I'm going to go do that and see how it works, and then we'll give kind of a comparison to these. So I found the best way to do this is if you detach at the bicep. This is assuming you're not doing this just while building the kit, which you totally could do. You want to like separate these two parts just to make it so you have less plastic to cut through. And then take a knife, or like even, I don't know if just standard model kit nippers would do the trick, but you want to just cut in that middle line. So I'm gonna take a look at this and hack it up off screen, because this could be a little complicated when it comes to doing it on camera, and I don't want to accidentally break the kit. This is a modification, so just keep in mind, you want to make sure those pegs don't go anywhere, and then those holes don't go anywhere, so you can still sandwich these together at the end. But it definitely feels like it's sort of in the design for this to be an easy mod. So now that I've got these pieces cut apart, I just used an X-Acto knife and just worked my way around the edge until it came apart. So it was like this. So with this piece coming back on here, you can see that once you attach that, and then you line up the rest of the bicep, and then you can attach it into the arm. So now, instead of it being locked to this position, you can actually turn it, and it still holds incredibly well because it was grooved in there. Sometimes there are Bandai model kits, like a lot of the Gundam kits will have skirt pieces that are meant to be separated on like high grades, and it's just molded in there, but you have to do additional cutting, and the instructions don't really tell you. And this feels like one of those instances, because now, well, he's got a proper working arm. You can bend this way in addition to this way and, you know, inwards. So yeah, I mean, this mod isn't hard. It's not necessarily a necessity, because I mean, you can still do a lot with the arms like this, but I really recommend it. It just takes, you know, a little bit of work, a little bit of patience and some care, but honestly, it's worth it in the end for that extra articulation. And for those wondering, a side by side, so you can see when you have the elbow like this, it puts him in more of a natural stance. I think him kind of looking sort of stock armed. Like if the arms were this way, it looks more natural, rest. This is kind of like more of a battle pose which I mean, I guess is, again, more close to the actual, like, model art, but I do prefer having the extra swivel there just for the extra range. So I do recommend doing that mod because this does restrict what you can do with this guy. Okay, so going off of the, now we fixed the arms, there is one other thing that this kit has that helps with its posing options. Now, while it's not included, there is a port in the back, you can see the back of his waist there, that'll fit something like a Gundam action base, or what is essentially, I think, called the Bandai action base now. But essentially, if you have a stand that has a port kind of like this, this will also work, I think, with like Tamashii stages, or similar, like, I don't know, wherever the millimeter is. You can plug this in, so I'm just going to use a Gundam action base, so you can get him off the ground, which is cool if you want to do some more dynamic posing for him. And it's nice because it's not like up in the middle of the waist, it's off the back, so it looks more natural, and yeah, it's totally an option if you're looking for it. And just because he doesn't need the stand doesn't mean the stand doesn't help with some of his special attacks, like Great Tornado, or Gaia/Terra Force. And I mean, overall, this guy does pose pretty good, with or without the arm mod. That's just kind of a personal preference thing. He still has a lot of good range of articulation, especially for a Wargreymon, which is a tricky design with all the armor plates that could clash into each other. So overall, I'm pretty impressed. But how does he stack up to the Wargreymons of the past? Alright, so we'll start with the most recent Wargreymon prior to this that I know of, which was the Shoto Wargreymon, who is, a sort of like a candy toy figure and kind of small, but you can see they have similar ideas as to being more anime styled, whereas this guy is definitely more Adventure 2020 styled with the sharper teeth and the little bit longer claws. This is still definitely original Adventure styled, which is pretty cool overall. Another instant comparison would be to the D-Arts Wargreymon, which also, this is a sub-in for the Figuarts R Wargame Wargreymon, which I never picked up. They're about the same size. And as you can see, the Figurerise standard Wargreymon is bigger, which is actually pretty cool because I think that this is a bit larger of a scale compared to the D-Arts/Figuarts, which is also a good thing. This guy's definitely more video game proportion, whereas this guy more anime proportioned. And so they're definitely distinctive in a lot of ways. Now, my original Wargreymon Digivolving figure is in a box and is missing a foot, so he couldn't be here for this comparison, but here's the Digivolving Spirits Wargreymon. Now, this one is about the same size as the original, from what I remember, so you can see that they're in about the same size class. So if you have a Digivolving Spirits or original Digivolving Wargreymon, you can get an idea of how big this Wargreymon model kit is, and I actually like this better size-wise, just as a figure, than, say, the smaller version of the D-Art or Figuart. Now, I don't own many Figurerise standard kits, and in fact, the only other Digimon one I own is Machinedramon, so this is kind of a comparison for that. So if you're wanting to have like more of an anime Wargreymon with Machinedramon, they're definitely closer in scale. I think the best scaling for Machinedramon still is the Shoto figure, just because of how Machinedramon was drawn in the original anime. But in terms of model kits, it's definitely a closer match than the amplified Wargreymon scale-wise, so you can kind of see how they stack up together here. Every time I put these two in a room together, they end up fighting, and Wargreymon always ends up winning. So overall, I can highly recommend the Wargreymon Figurerise standard model kit. Even if you don't do the forearm mod to get the arms to swivel, it's honestly still pretty good overall. It's got that one limitation. It's like the only thing with the base build of the kit that I didn't like, and luckily it was an easy fix. I mean, I just took an X-Acto knife, cut a couple pieces of plastic, reassembled it, and now he's got forearm swivels. So overall, I mean, it's a great start to the Figurerise standard Digimon line. Now, the amplified line isn't going anywhere for those that still like the more robotic designs, but personally, I like these more anime-styled figures, and there are more on the way. Metal Garurumon and Magnamon have already released in Japan, and Gallantmon is coming out in this summer. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else this line will produce. I will definitely be picking them all up, and you will likely see them on this channel, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to keep up with future Digimon videos. Also, be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this, and leave a comment down below and tell me your favorite Wargreymon figure that has been released. Also, shout out to my friend Wheelchair21. He gave me some ideas for things I could do in the video, and I appreciate it. Plus, he was the one that told me about the forearm mod to begin with, so thank you to him. You can check him out on YouTube and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out Hero Club at hero-club.com for Digimon news and more, and my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at darkclaw643. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.